Hey, what's up guys? This is FORFITZ, and today I'm going to introduce to you my super budget declone farming Smiter build. In this video, I'm going to show you where you can obtain each and every single piece of gear you're going to need to get yourself into Annie farming. Alright YouTube, first things first, let's talk about my level, spec, and attributes. In this video, I'm going to use 75 as the base for showing my Smiter. I know there are plenty of videos on YouTube showing how you can solo Diablo clone at a much lower level. However, for the sake of this video, I want to keep it simple. So I'm going to use the level base of 75. Alright, starting off with your combat skills, you're going to want to put 20 points into Smite, 1 point into Holy Bolt, 1 point into Charge, 1 point into Blessed Hammers, and 20 points into Holy Shield for your Defiance bonus. Okay, moving on to offensive auras. Put 1 point into Might, 1 point into Blessed Aim, 1 point into Consecration, and 20 points into Fanaticism. Fanaticism is basically your bread and butter aura for a Smiter. Okay, last but not least, your defensive auras. You're going to want to put 1 point into Fire Res, 1 point into Cold, 1 point into Light, and 1 point into Salvation. Now, since we are fighting Diablo Clone, it's not really required to use Salvation. It's only really useful during like Uber Mephisto. However, since it's 1 point, you might as well take it anyways. Now that you got all your points into defensive auras, you're going to want to put any remaining points into Defiance. Alright guys, now let's talk about my attributes. Attributes are going to vary for everyone, so put enough strength in to equip all your gear. In my case, I'm required 129 strength, so that's what I put in. Now for dex, you're going to want to check your block rating. How you can do this is simply cast Holy Shield and go to a random zone and allow monsters to hit you. Once you're done, you can hover over defense for your block percentage. You always want to maintain a 75% chance to block, so put enough points into dex until your block chance reaches 75%. After you have made sure your block percentage is at 75%, you can put any remaining points into Vitality. Just make sure if you level your Paladin to always keep checking your defensive percent. So now let's talk about gear. The first piece of gear I'm using is the rune word Treachery. The reason you want to use Treachery is it gives you a 5% chance at proccing level 15 Fade. What Fade does is it basically increases your all resistance by 60% and gives you 15% physical resist. Now you don't exactly need to use Treachery for this, it's just preferred for the resistance and damage reduction. If you want, you can simply craft yourself the rune word Smoke. However, Treachery is pretty cheap as it is to craft. In order to craft Treachery, you're going to need a 3-socket chest piece. You can find the base for Treachery pretty much anywhere in Nightmare. I personally prefer to find the base for my rune words in Cows, however you could search for yours in Chaos or Worldstone. As for runes, you're going to need a Shell, Thult, and a Lem. I suggest farming Countess for the runes, or maybe you'll get lucky with your Hellforge and get a Lem like I got. Now for my main hand weapon, the piece of gear I'm using is the rune word Black. Black is an amazing weapon because it is extremely cheap to build. It gives the wielder 40% chance increased crushing blow and 15% increased attack speed. To craft Black, you're going to need a 3-socket mace, hammer, or club. It cannot be crafted out of a sword. I personally prefer using flails because of the very fast attack speed class of weapon they are in. So to keep the build cheap, I won't be using Drax. In my offhand weapon, I have a level 5 life tap 1. You can easily find this by farming a car in Act 1 Hell. So you can actually find the base for Black by farming the vendor in Act 2, or you can find it by farming Nightmare Cows. As for runes, you're going to need a Thul, Io, and a Neff. These can be found by farming Countess. So third piece of gear is going to be what types of shields I'm using. On my main hand, I was going to actually tell you guys to craft the rune word Spirit. However, as I was filming this video, I actually switched this with a 4-socket palace shield and I put 4p diamonds in it, which I think is almost the same cost difference as building Spirit. Now, if you don't exactly have perfect diamonds, but you have the 4-socket pally shield, just craft yourself the rune word Spirit instead, since it gives you faster hit recovery anyways. On my offhand, I'm using the rune word Ancient's Pledge. It doesn't really matter what exact shield you're using on your offhand, since you'll be swapping back to your main hand after life tap anyways. Finding the 4-socket pally shield can be done in Hell. I actually farm mine by searching armor racks and chests in Lower Karas. Same with the flawless diamonds to craft perfect diamonds. As for runes for spirit, just farm Countess. The fourth and last rune word is going to be Smoke. It gives you 50 all res for a Nuff and a Lum. I personally use this on my Merc and I will talk about why once I'm done showing the rest of my gear. Moving on to craftables and vendor farming. The craftable gloves I am using are blood gloves for crushing blow. These can also roll with attack speed on them, However, for the purpose of this video, just make sure the higher percentage is on the crushing blow. It varies from 5 to 10%. I am also using a blood belt for open wounds. This also varies from 5 to 10%. These items are extremely easy to craft, and all you need is 2 perfect rubies, 2 jewels, a towel, and enough. The recipe will appear in the video. If you need time to read it, feel free to pause the video at any moment. You can actually farm the gloves and belt by farming vendors. Just make sure they look exactly like this or you won't be able to craft them. Every item in Diablo is done in tiers, so just make sure the belt and gloves look exactly like the ones I am showing in the video. They also must be blue. As for gems, runes, and jewels, you can get them by farming anywhere in Nightmare or Hell. So let's talk about findables. Rings, amulets can easily be substituted for all res ones. The hardest findables are going to be your Goblin's Toes and G-Face, and the optional Bone Hue which I'm using on my Mercenary, which I will talk about in a minute. Goblin's Toes can be found by farming Normal or Nightmare Andy. The hardest piece of gear is going to be your G-Face. I happen to get lucky and find both of mine through Pinal Skin on Hell difficulty. Now, the reason you want Goblin's Toes is it gives you a 25% chance of crushing blow. And the reason you want G-Face is it gives you a 35% chance. What is crushing blow? Crushing blow basically removes a portion of the target's HP, not its maximum life. So for example, Hell Diablo when he has 40,000 hit points left, crushing blow will remove 5,000 hit points. How crushing blow works is in large portions. That's why when you're near the end of a fight, it takes longer because the portion of HP isn't greater for the crushing blow effect to work. Which brings me on to my next topic. The optional bone heal on my mercenary prevents monster healing. This is extremely important when fighting Diablo clone because once you get close to killing him, you need prevent monster healing to stop him from regaining his HP. However, it's completely optional and you don't even need your mercenary when fighting him. Just simply craft yourself a blood belt for the open wounds. The smoke armor is also optional and it just helps keep your mercenary alive. As for charms, just stack whatever you can. Honestly, health grand charms worked wonders for me. Let's be honest, this is a budget smiter build, not a super expensive one, so just find whatever you can. Preferably HP ones or fire res. Let's talk about the fight. Once you get the message Diablo walks the earth, you first need to proc fade before you engage the fight. You can proc fade by standing in fire or going to a random zone and allowing monsters to hit you. Once you've got fade proc, you need to decide exactly where you want to spawn them. You need to find a super unique. I personally always spawn my D clone in Fire Eye. You can easily get there by Arcane Sanctuary Waypoint. So before entering the portal, make sure you have your life tap wand out and ready to quick cast. Once you are ready to enter the portal, quickly cast life tap onto Diablo clone and swap back to your main hand weapon. Make sure Smite and Fanaticism are activated during the fight. If your life tap cannot manage to keep up, depending how long the fight is, you may need to recast it. Also, don't forget to bring rejuves just in case. Now that you're done, it's time to ID your Annie. My first one I happened to get was a 15-11-6. However, on my second attempt, I managed to get a 19-17-10. Anyways, guys, I really hope my build works out for you. If you know of any other cheaper builds, please let me know in the comments section below. This is my first pluggy tune, and everything is 100% self-found. The other day, I managed to find griffins, which is pretty freaking awesome if you ask me. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like. You can also support me by hitting that subscribe button or simply tuning into my stream. Anyways, YouTube, until next time. No fucking way. Holy shit. No way. Griffins. Fuck off. Wow. GG, boys. That is crazy.